And we're live. Hello, everyone. Happy New Year of 2024. Hello, Chris Berger. Hello, Mario. Hello, God is our salvation. And hello, Jason. Lovely to have all of you here and everybody else who's, lurking. That's fine. And Kelsey. Um, I want to apologize for the yesterday's failure at the live stream because I was cat sitting my friend's cat. He got delayed, and by the time I got home, I it was way past the live stream time, and I could not go online. Also, my phone died. He didn't have the iPhone charger, so I couldn't really notify anyone. And it is what it is. So, hello everyone. Oh, and there's Nanat. He's actually my friend and a neighbor. Hello, Orthodox Insights. Hello, Orthodox Christian George, UD, Rare Zandrai, Radoslav, Jonathan, Chris, Gedusha, Jepthid, and some random guy. Part two. Hello, everyone. So, you know, um, this channel has been operating for what, past, is it even 8 years? No, that can't be right. No, it's, well, I think that this year, the past year, it was, no, 6 years. Let me just check real quick. I can't even remember. That is what old age does to you. So, we've been through a lot, and that's not a whole lot. Let me see, oldest 6 years ago. So, some 6 years ago. And, we're still going strong, I should say. I'm pretty happy to have all of you here, through bad, through good, through bad, through beautiful, through funny, through not so funny, to failed funny, and so on. And I apologize for my hair. It's a mess, but it is what it is. It's the Lord that the Lord gave me. And I was thinking that maybe I should live stream much more often. By much more often, I mean once a month, which is, I think that I had like 10 live streams on this channel so far. And I'm not a huge fan of live streams. I don't think I ever watched a live stream ever. So it's not really something that's at the back of my mind. So, however, for some reason, I like going on streams, but these are usually like Q&A and so on. I don't think I have, something particularly interesting to say. And especially because I don't have a theme, and when I have to pick a theme for a live stream, I'm at loss what to pick, and so on. So it's usually just going on and having an Orthodox banter with you. So, hello, Gagoman. Hello, Mamlia, Oscar, Conrad, uh, John D. Rockefeller, and okay. By the way, there's this heart. What will happen if I press? So okay. Well, this is new. See, this is what I'm talking about. I haven't been here for so long that they have introduced this cute heart thing that sends little hearts when somebody sends a reaction, and you guys are really at it. So thank you all. Oh yeah, okay. I'm sort of starting to feel like those, elderly people who are just starting to figure out smartphones or cell phones or electricity. So yeah, so it is what it is. Um, I have been the past year was 2 years ago. 2022 was horrific year for me. The verse so bad, and by the way, it's still pretty good compared to a lot of people. There weren't like any personal tragedies or anything of the sorts. uh 23 was much better. However, there was a major delay in the videos, and I think that I haven't posted anything for like majority of November to December, and I'm slowly picking up the slack. So I hope that this live stream is a sort of this indication that I will try better to post more videos. It seems that you guys like it, so yeah. I do hope to post more content, and things are. This content creation is a weird thing because it is spreading, in my case, through so many things. Like first there were just like color pencil drawings, then there was this main channel, then it went to the secondary channel, then I started to paint icons and embroider. And where's that? Is it here? Yeah, it's here. Oh, actually they're both here. So I finished these. I'm pretty happy with them. The like motifs are completely unrelated, but they were really fun to make, and however, the issue with embroidery is if you ever try to make one, they're really time consuming. So I actually made a sort of attempt to uh, do them while I'm doing something else. For example, I would embroider on public transport, or when I'm like with my friends. So like for some reason, embroidering while you're talking with somebody is fine, but doing some other kinds of content creation is, even though you can be focused on the conversation. It's just how it's work. Oh. Vicious Alpine. Hey, brother, how are you? Well, doing fine. My general issue is that I generally don't have a lot of sleep. Definitely not as much as I should have or need to have. One of my friends told me, "Oh, you need to have 8 hours of sleep a day," and I'm like, because it's usually like 6. And by the way, technically, I could use 6 hours of 8 hours of sleep, but I'm so horribly disorganized, and I'm constantly doing better, but it's never good enough. And to be quite honest, my room and apartment behind is a huge mess. Like 5 minutes before this live stream, I'm bearing my soul here. I was setting this up at an angle that it looks passable. The light is off in the living room, so you wouldn't see, but it is what it is. And then that's not even the mess as much as I used to make. So it is one of those things. So some random guy, that cat plush is at a weird angle where it kind of looks like an old video game polygon texture. That's precisely why I got it. I call it Chaslav in honor of a good friend of mine's departed cat. It's actually a door stopper, so it would prevent doors from closing during a draft. And I love it because it looks poorly rendered. And when people come to my place for the first time, they see a cat and they see, okay, he has a cat, and they're like, there's something uncanny with that cat. Something's wrong. It didn't load properly. There's a glitch in the matrix. It's terrific, guys. If you can find this poorly rendered something, get it. It is an amazing icebreaker. It's such a terrific piece of content for all to see. So I'll just put little old Chaslav here. Okay. Orthodox Christian George, may the Holy Theotokos pray for you. Thank you all. Thank you, George, and for all of you. Orthodox Insights, PS1 cat. Yes, that's precisely, even though, to be quite honest, this is precisely PS1 cat. Maybe PS2. Definitely not 3. I was never much into PS, to be quite honest. Why do I have a Among Us plushie behind me? Because I was given it by my good friend Milos, whom you often see on the channel. He's the Milos from the channel. Currently, he's really busy, so you don't see him at the moment as much as but he'll come back. There was no. I want to banish all rumors of our falling out and drama. Or is there drama? Now let me see. What do you guys get? Pixel Emperor, how did you learn? Are you learning to make icons? I really want to make my own one day. I simply go to classes. At the chapel that I attend, we had a priest, and his wife is an artist, and I'm learning at her place. I actually have 2 icons here, but to be quite honest, I feel really lazy to go to the living room to show them. So simply go to Bible Illustrated on Instagram, and you will see 2 icons of Christ. I have this. This was essentially a practice I did for vestments, and I simply use it as an illustration for the verse, "All the souls of the righteous magnify the Lord," from Daniel. I don't think it is in Protestant Bibles, that particular passage. It's from the Song of the Three Young Men in the Furnace. So I think that generally Protestant Bibles. Sorry, my slipper fell off, so I'm trying to reach for it. So generally, I don't think you will see it in the typical Protestant Bible. Vicious Alpine, quick question: what's your opinion on the modern day culture, specifically secular culture that we see around us today, and when it's truly started to come about? Well, honestly, I think that it's bad. It on one hand, it gives too much liberty, especially to sin. On the other hand, it really gives people possibility to experience sin and grow sick from it, get sick of it, and realize that it won't fill their empty hearts. And I think that especially as regards to secular culture, we do not appreciate as much as we should the fact that it allows us to worship in peace and build new churches and so on. So there are major pluses to it, even though we are all aware of the minuses. And I don't think there is a particularly perfect system, because this is a fallen world. Every system will have its pros and cons. So yeah, sketching for human faces. Yeah, it's always good. I heard it. What's her name? Rebecca Farnham. I think she's like this big YouTuber. She's an animator, and one of the best things I've heard as regards to art was from her professor. I mean, she relayed the info. He said something along the lines of, "Inside of you, there are 10,000 bad drawings, and the more you draw, the faster you will get them out of your system." Something to that effect. I think that is an excellent way to put it. So, as regards to drawing, illustration, simply keep at it. That's essentially the only thing that will ultimately make you better. And if it's a focused exercise like faces, anatomy, draperies, landscapes, what have you, all the better. Oh, thanks. Sorry. The barnyard animal. How do you feel about Stevan Sindlich? Why isn't there a $1 billion movie about him? To be quite honest, this is the first time I've heard of him. Let me see who he is. Sindlich. Okay, sorry. For me, he's a hero. Essentially, he was one of the leaders of the first Serbian uprising against the Turks. That uprising failed. The second one actually bore a lot of results. And Sinjelic essentially blew up a powder keg, blessing himself to smithereens, but also killing a lot of Turks during a battle. And in the case you didn't know, I have a channel, Serbia Illustrated. You can subscribe. However, currently we have only 2 big videos on there. It's currently on hiatus because I wanted to dedicate more time to actually Bible Illustrated, because Serbia is important, but Christ is of eternal importance, and Serbia is, of course, secondary. And my identity as a Serb is secondary and subservient to my identity as a Christian. So I do hope to reinvigorate that channel at some point. I hope in a couple of months. We'll see. Again, it's that curse time management and the fact that my videos take so much time on the main channel, a lot of mostly because it takes me so long to draw. For example, the last video I made, on the atheists claiming that Jesus only sacrificed his wicked for us, it was that faster because I had so many drawings of the relevant verses, and I simply used images for some of the verses that I didn't have, like, for example, picking Barabbas and so on. However, I'm not a huge fan of utilizing existing imagery. I do use it on occasion, but I'm not a huge fan of it. So I like to keep my channel style consistent. Maybe it's not worth it, Maybe you guys would watch it. I mean, there's place for my art and illustrations. However, I do not think they're that important. So we'll see. Maybe I will tone it down just a bit, but I do not want to make my videos into this like PowerPoint presentation and so on. So thank you, the barnyard animal. Okay, and now I've lost the the thread. Okay. Oh, sorry. Just a moment, guys. I need to. How old are you, if you don't mind me the question? I don't mind. I'm 37. I turned 37 on the 10th November. That's when my birthday is. And I'm ensure I post plaster it everywhere. So, my dad looks really young. He I know, he's like 75 soon, but I think that most people would give him, I don't know, 55 tops. I think that he's only just starting to have some grays on his sideburns. Is it possible to add an icon next to the cat? I mean, it is, but I'm not really a fan of mixing icons with like secular ornaments and so on. I mean, I don't mind if people do it, but I mean, it's their thing. But for me, I mean, I already have an icon. Okay, so guys, do you think I should add an icon there? I mean, I could, but anonymous potato. I used a crystal ball and it said God is mad at me. Well, stop using the crystal ball, and maybe it'll change. Katerina Papagiannakis, would you sell your hand-painted icons? Yes, I would. I plan to do so. Currently, I have those two Christs. However, because I painted them with egg tempera, the color needs to dry off for a couple of months, and then I can put varnish on them so they wouldn't get damaged during the transport. And then however, I plan to paint my other icons. I plan to paint them with acrylics, and the acrylics are much more manageable. They essentially get plasticified instantly. Okay, so this is my palette. And when I used egg tempera, this was spotless white because I would wash all the color. However, I couldn't wash off the color of acrylics. This is the best I could do, because it's so resistant to water and soap. It's literally God's gift, especially for icons that I am supposed to transport. So. The Orthodox Study Bible uses New King James Version. I don't know. I like King James Version. UD, do you have any advice to becoming Orthodox? The more and the more I think about it, it mostly boils down to, especially in the modern day and age, is stick to your parish. I think that a lot of our current problems, not all, and maybe they're not even the most important ones, but it's, I think, really important for for people who are becoming Orthodox is that their spiritual lives and lives in general are so influenced by things we see online, and online isn't the real world. I am thankful that we can converse like this, and it's nice. However, I look at this exclusively as a nice getting together of friends and so on. Nothing more, nothing less. If a YouTuber, a forum, a Discord server is causing you to doubt your own parish, it's a problem. I honestly think it's a problem. Unless your own parish is some kind of, heretical cult or, uncanonical jurisdiction, I don't think there's practically any good reason to ditch parish or to doubt the practices of your parish, because I've seen people's faith getting shaken over some ridiculous debates online. I don't want to name them because they're really not important. And for example, also, of course, Holy Fathers are very important for us. However, bear in mind that for majority of Christianity, a lot of Christians weren't exposed to them directly. The sole thing those people had were the church and maybe like a prayer rope. Maybe not even a prayer rope. Maybe just some standard typical prayers of like Rejoice, O Virgin Theotokos, the Our Father, or simply the Jesus Prayer. Because ultimately those things are the most important ones. Anything else is great, is amazing, is a spice and salt to our spiritual life, but these things are bread and butter. And sometimes somebody will, well, this saint said that, and then suddenly you have these doubts, and of course the devil is fanning these doubts, because he wants to tear you apart from the church, whether it's from the capital C church like the Eastern Orthodox Church, or a small C church, your local parish through which Eastern Orthodox is actually actualized in your life. And I think that is an advice that I would give right now. Of course, if you ask me in a different time of day, maybe I would have something else, hovering over my head. Greek name, I'm sorry, official. Are you thinking of becoming a priest? No, I would actually really not want to become a priest. I think that being a priest is a beautiful thing. I think that Orthodox services and serving them as a priest, as a part of clergy, is absolutely amazing. Honestly, I would love to hear confessions, not so I would, listen to other people's dirty laundry. I really have zero interest in that. I am 37, so I've heard stuff. So that's really not for me. However, however, um, being clergy is immensely difficult. It is martyrdom, and I do not think I would have spiritual strength to bear it through. It's easy being a YouTuber. It's exceptionally difficult being a priest, and I think that we should pray for our clergy much more often than we have the habit of doing so. I mean, by that, I don't, you know, I think that the Lord understands that a lot of us fail to pray for the things that we need, and that is why He said, when He was teaching us to pray the Lord's Prayer, He essentially said, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven," because that covers all. So there's that. So moving on. Orthodox Insights. Today is the feast day of Saint Genevieve of Paris. During the revolution, her relics and relics of many other saints were burnt and thrown into the river Seine. Yes, I've actually heard a great expression for relics that are so desecrated, martyr relics. And I honestly think that in some way or capacity, the Lord counts this as a second martyrdom to these saints, and I think one of the worst actually, for me, that was the worst part of the life of Saint Theodosia of Constantinople. I made a reliquary episode on her. Was when the Ottoman Turks desecrated her church, and they threw out her relics to the dogs on the street. And you know, why would you do that? I mean, I understand you want to desecrate somebody else's shrine. I mean, I hate that. I could never do that. Anything similar to somebody else of some other religion, Satanism excluded. But you know, to desecrate a body, okay, they don't consider her a saint, but that's still a human being. How could you do something like that? Again, that's me. So, uh, Kelsey, have you ever been to the United States, Boyan? Yeah, I've been twice. I've been in 2013. I've been to Victoria, Texas, to meet my damn spiritual father, Father Dimitri Cosby, who has since reposed. And in 2016, I went to New York, and I will go this year, most probably May, again to New York, and I will notify you guys. And I do hope to meet you somewhere in New York City at one point, like for a coffee or something. So if you guys want to meet, I'll notify you where I am and where to meet me. Pixel Emperor, what is your favorite icon you made, and what icon do you want to make the most? There is this icon of Christ that I really like a lot. Actually, I think I painted 4 icons so far: 2 Christs, 1 Saint Thomas the Apostle, and 1 Most Holy Theotokos. I think that the first Christ I did with green background is my favorite. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I'll show you right now. This icon will go on sale as soon as I put varnish on it, and I will probably notify you guys in the community tab that it's on sale. So okay, I'll send you the link in the chat. There we go. Katerina, do non-Orthodox Christians go to heaven? Well, the Lord is their judge. He knows. I am always hopeful whenever such things are, asked, because God is love. He wants everybody to be saved. And let us not deceive ourselves. A lot of people aren't Orthodox because of really, well, human element. We did not do missionary work where we should have had. There were forces of darkness that worked heavily against us, whether it's through Islam, through communism, through our own laziness, inertia, what have you. And I do not think that the Lord will just damn somebody like that because they weren't, exposed to Christianity. However, we also need to bear in mind that faulty beliefs, whether it's heretical beliefs or pagan beliefs, these are stages, damage our relationship with our Lord, and especially like pagan beliefs that make this relationship practically impossible. And I do believe that the Lord is somehow capable of saving them. However, I do not know in what capacity and how. I do not make those conclusions. So Potato Kitty, hi, I'm new to Orthodoxy and I have to yet go to church. When I go for the first time, I'm planning on wearing a suit like I tend to do nowadays. And I shall additionally know, well, not that I know. Generally, rule here in Serbia is that you should have your, shoulders covered, your belly covered, and like long pants until that reach towards your ankles, and that's it. And it is recommended for women, and it's really depends whether it's an urban like parish or a rural. I hate that word. I can never pronounce it right at the first time. Ruler, ruler, rural parish. You know what I mean? Where more women would wear head covering, and especially monasteries where it's generally assumed that they will cover one and will provide one if you don't have them. However, I don't think it's generally emphasized in the United States. It's practic. I think it's more emphasized, for example, in Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia. It is less emphasized in Greek Orthodox Archdiocese, and there are shades of this, and that's about it. So, um, have you thought about making a video about the Battle of Kulikovo? Not really, because I'm not really that interested in battles. So let me just check if yeah, because in part because of illustration, because I need to draw a lot of soldiers fighting, and for me that's extremely boring. It takes a whole lot of effort for it just to flash before your eyes for a couple of seconds and then move on, and then and I don't want to have a simple static image. So no, I did make a video on Saint Dimitri of the River Dawn, and that is as much as I will you know uh, say about it. I might make a short precisely because it's so short. However, already the most interesting thing about the battle, and that is having monk fight a duel, is in that video already. So. Okay, sorry. I keep losing the track of this. What time is it in Serbia? Right now it's like 17 past midnight. I could make some shorts for the Serbia account. Yeah, that's true, Andre. I could and I should, and I definitely will once I activate the channel more. So you should make a video of Saint Gabriel of Georgia. Yeah, I definitely will, because he's one of my favorite saints, and I definitely will. I did have this thick book on his life, and they need to read it again and make notes. I just need a sip. Sorry. Debater of everything, presenter of nothing. Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you too. Okay. Brother, you look like 25. Oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. Katerina, do you recommend your channel for kids? I don't know, honestly. I did make a couple of videos that were specifically for kids, maybe like two. However, I do not shy away from talking about death, sin, on occasion sex, and so on. So you might be tricked. This is like a kids channel, but it's really not at the end of it. Even though I would assume that a lot of videos are rather kid friendly. I do try to keep like swearing at the minimum to non-existent. So. Do you know about Roker's great relation with the Serbian Patriarchate? Yes, I do. I mean, I think that for the longest time, when Roker broke off the communion from the Moscow Patriarchate, that the Serbian Patriarchate was the sole patriarchate they have retained communion with. So. Orthodox Knight, thoughts on Father Spirit, and I'm personally think, I generally don't answer questions like this. Like, what are your thoughts about this specific person who can actually hear this, listen to this, and if I praise them, I'm feeding their pride, and if I say something critical, then they might take offense to it, and it's essentially lose-lose. These sorts of questions I only answer in person to people I actually know, because I don't want to turn this into a gossip, into drama or something. But I think that he's great. I recalled the fun you had with St. Thomas the Apostle Icon for sale. Oh yeah, that's on my secondary channel, Orthodox Banter with Boyan. I actually had this merch site that, unlike my current merch store that you can find in the link in the profile of my channel, wink, wink, wink. Um, However, all of the pieces of art I was selling, they were originals. They weren't prints or anything. And as soon as I sold that icon of St. Thomas, immediately the site went permanently down without any prior notice. I was furious. Thank God at least I sold that icon, so it was worth it. But it postponed the creation of the actual merch store that I have currently for considerable time. So Jonas, do the Serbians kiss the chalice after communion like the Russians? No, we don't. Actually, I think that one of the giveaway signs that somebody's like from Russia is that they will kiss the chalice, and I think that on occasion even a priest is like surprised because, you know, I think that people generally see it here. You just received communion, and you sort of run the risk of, smearing the chalice with Christ's blood. So we don't do that. Honestly, I find it beautiful. I find it really beautiful, but I don't do it. Any advice for when your parents don't understand Orthodoxy? My mom doesn't let me fast and says to me, all items have dairy in them. Well, they don't, as you're probably aware. And this is an experience I also had, even though my mom knows about Orthodoxy and everything. However, fasting was a huge issue. And I honestly think you should run this through with a priest, especially how to fast in such conditions. I don't want to give you any advice because the advice I received was advice that was, tailor made for my situation, but it was very difficult. However, the good news is they will come about, and at the very worst, they'll be like, oh, it's something that you do. At some point, they'll sort of stop caring. Okay, let's see where we're now. You can't go wrong with repeating the Jesus prayer. That's absolutely true. And yeah, may contain traces of milk or dairy. That is Lenten free. But they're essentially saying that the conveyor belt maybe touched some dairy and maybe there's like a molecule. It really does not influence your fasting. We do. That's why specifically in Orthodox Christianity we do not have the division of pure and impure foods. It's not like, oh no, dairy touched it and it's magically bad for you. No, it's fine. I even know a lot of people, and I tend to do this. I think this was by Archbishop Dmitry Royster of the Diocese of the South. He was like, do not read after the seventh ingredient, because by the time you reach the seventh ingredient, it's so, those are basically traces. So Nezarius' Theologia. Do you know where I could study patristic, such as spiritual quotes from various saints? You know, I think you can find it like on Project Gutenberg or New Advent Catholic Encyclopedia. You have all sorts of translations of the Holy Fathers. However, whether it's good for you, I think that at least some sort of clergy supervision should be, in order, at least in the sense of read this, abstain from this, because again, we generally have this tendency to absolutize everything. For example, you might see, for example, that Christians made the sign of the cross like this in like first century, and suddenly you'll be like, that is how I need to make it. And then you're that guy that does the sign of the cross during the liturgy in the way that nobody else does. This is just like a minor, funny example, but there's a lot of things like this. So, just be on the guard with that. And of course, the classical, oh, I know so much about the Holy Fathers and so on. It's ultimately of our communion with God and our cleansing of passions. And if the fathers help you with that, do it. If they don't, they generally should. But again, too much of a good thing can turn into a poison, and sometimes we see people going into a schism because of um, too much of a good thing. That is why the saints constantly say that we should keep the royal path, the middle, not too much zeal, not too much laxity. uh, why did you have an American for spiritual father as opposed to a local in Serbia? It's simply how it developed, because you know um, and I think a lot of converts have this issue. You're simply afraid of approaching a priest. And I went to my parish for like 5 years. I never met anyone. I never was introduced to someone to somebody. There was one priest that sort of knew me. He definitely didn't know what my name was, but he sort of recognized me for confession and everything. And I was looking. However, I never felt um, this impression. And by the way, I was not looking for a man hovering and shining with uncreated light. And these priests were fine, but I don't know, it just never clicked. However, due to some weird freaks of you know uh, you know um, online talks and everything, I met Father Dimitri, and for some reason it clicked, and I'm endlessly thankful for that, because honestly, I do think that his biggest legacy for me is preventing apostasy. And I don't mean that I was especially tempted by apostasy at any moment, but it's because of his spiritual guidance that I wasn't. And oftentimes I think, man, if I didn't know Father Dimitri, I have no idea how this would play out. And I don't think it generally would play very well. So Mary Beth, thank you so much, Mary, for your comments with regards to the illustrations. Happy New Year, Michael and Jerome. Thank you so much, and thank you, Saturnine. Is it Saturnine? Thank you for Orthodox Insights. When have you checked out the Pixelmon game? I think I've only checked out the demo with the. Is it like a monk feeding the ducks? Is that the one? Mario Andre, did I miss something important? I had problems with it. No. Uh, I never think that these live streams are anything really important. They're just, us hanging out, you know. So even if a commercial interrupts you, you're not missing out anything. The most important things I say them on the video on the main channel or the secondary channel, and you can access those always. So. Um, will you go to Australia? I don't have any plans right now. I would like to see it, but so far, G26. K-Boy and greetings. Hello, G26. Pixel Emperor, do you think you could make a video about controversial saints? You already made one about Constantine, but I think you could make it like a companion video to the one about controversial hated bishops. I could, but again, I was a part of an episode with the Orthodox Meme Squad on their podcast, and we discussed controversial saints. Um, Honestly, I don't think there are a lot of controversial saints. I think there's only a handful, and I don't mind make videos on them. Except that I tend to make videos out of the lives that I found interesting for the saints that I'm devoted to. Ideally, if I lived so long, if I become a lich, I would like to make a video on every saint. Like honestly, even the ones that I know am not particularly devoted to are controversial and so on. And we'll see. Eventually, I hope I do. I'd call the channel PG rated with a lot of content being G. Oh, took me a second. I laughed out loud when you said LARPer in the last video. I mean, isn't that like a common word? Sorry. Who's my favorite Serb saint? There's a couple of them that I really like. Most notably, Saint Nikolai of Ohrid and Žiča Velimirovic. He's a major reason why I'm Orthodox today, because I've read his catechism. And even though I was very religious even then, I really did not understand the church, teachings. I mean, didn't know them. And his catechism, The Faith of Saints, really shaped me. And I like Saint Simeon of Daibabe. He's this cave-dwelling ascetic that essentially painted his entire cave where he was, doing his monastic labor. So I think these two. Jonathan, hello from the Orthodox Greek family function. Hello, everyone. So kissing is something mandatory. Interesting. Okay, so kissing the chalice. Katerina, what are the rules for fasting on Wednesdays and Fridays? I think generally, and this regards as whether fish is allowed, oil is allowed. I think generally it's only on water, so you're not supposed to use oil in your food, and you're not supposed to drink wine. Some people interpret this in general as alcoholic beverages, and they tend to agree with them. And you're not supposed to eat fish, but you can eat like shellfish that has no bones. I think that's the general rule, and I think that this fast is sort of weakened in some cases of some big feast days. I never actually went into too much details because it's sort of like maths, simply not my area of either expertise or interest. Actually, I have no area of expertise. I only have, areas of interest. Romanian priest stabbed the forehead of the communicants with the bottom edge of the chalice. Oh boy. I would be so worried of doing that. I mean, it's wonderful, but I would be so. I just ate a bag of Medeno honey hearts. It's essentially these ginger cookies that are dipped in black chocolate and filled with jam, and they're a staple during Serbian fasting. And I lost the thread again. This is really interesting. Okay, let's see. Vukašin, srećna nova godina i praznici Serbije. There you go. My mother said if there are more than 3 major ingredients and if each ingredient has more than 3 syllables, don't buy it. Yeah. And sadly, it's a sad thing that the food is so processed, and in the times of famine, that's perfect because it can last for so long. But when we are not starving, I think we should do well to avoid it as much as possible. So, but this is just like a common nutrition thing. So it's not like I'm giving some divine wisdom. Is it wrong if I sleep for a bit, wake up to do an evening prayer, and go back to sleep again? I mean, ask your priest, but if you count the first sleep as a nap, I think it's fine. Okay. Make a video about Saint Nicholas the Turk of Optina's Kit. Please, he's a very non-Jewish saint, but extreme. He's a very again. I do hope so, and I've read some of the life of Saint what is Nicholas, yeah, but his life is extensive, and I'm sad to say, on occasion I am very ill motivated to do the lives of saints who have long lives, because of course I will cut some things out because it's only to raise awareness of some saints, However, sometimes there's so much good material, I don't want to lift anything up, but then the video will last like 15 minutes and it'll take me a week to illustrate, and I'm simply not motivated to do it. But I hope to draw the life of Saint Nicholas as well. Hi, if you dispose of your religious art, how do you do it? Well, generally you bury it or you burn it in a furnace and then dispose of the ashes in some place where it's not trampled on. That's generally how it's done. You do it like that with icons. So the Orthodox Christians celebrate the three kings, like the three kings. I don't think we do. Honestly, I don't think I've ever really experienced any form of devotion to them in Orthodoxy. It might exist, but I don't think I've ever like seen a troparion to them, like prayers addressed to them, or definitely not a church or an icon of them. And on icons, they generally don't have a halo. That does not have to mean anything, because like when you have a central figure on an icon, for example, nativity, it is fine to leave out halos for other participants. And you will often see this with like Christ in the middle of having a halo and apostles not having a halos because they're sort of the background of an icon. So, but I with the three kings, I'm not sure if like we don't consider them saints or like they're simply like secondary characters. So halos aren't drawn. I've never actually seen them with a halo in like an Orthodox icon. Saint Boy and the Ring Wraith. You know, on the triangle, it should be Saint, Boyan, and Ring Wraith, and where you fall on the triangle. He starved to death producing videos. Guys, the sole way I won't die is by starvation. Trust me on this. Trust me on this. Are you going to have a discussion with Jonathan Peugeot? That would be a good talk. I mean, I would, but you know, he's a big star. I don't think he would be like interested into something like that. Yex, hello, Yex. Caleb, when do you think that corruption and abuse within the church has caused the decline in religion in the US? It has caused the decline everywhere, and this is what St. Paul has warned us. He told us, it is because of you that the name of Christ is blasphemed among the Gentiles. You know, and the abuse is the most extreme form. I mean, all of our sins, in even in the most minuscule parts, cause this. You know, on occasion we would have a saint who's like holiness, you know, sort of covers any small sins that they might have, and they actually draw people to Christ, you know, or like a missionary or some or the other. So I think, yeah, I think that's definitely one of the elements. However, I think that the most major element is that people's love of pleasure. You know, if you're religious, and I mean honestly religious, then you know you can't sleep around, you can't eat what you want whenever you want, you know, you can't make money fast doing dubious schemes and so on and so forth. And then there are people who think you can you can believe and have your cake and eat it. No, actually, just have cake and eat it. However, then they're hypocrites, and then they further, remove people who maybe want to become religious, but they're like, yeah, but that person is like, I know, shooting porn films, and they constantly talk about, how faith is really important to them, but they don't have much to show for it. So it's this vicious circle. But ultimately, I think in a lot of cases, it does come to, um, I would like to have a carefree life as regards to my puny pleasure sins. You know, majority of people are fine with not killing and so on. However, maybe cheating, why not, and so on. Wait, isn't our Christmas on the 6th? Well, it's on 7th. I mean, if you're on the old calendar like I am, so. Can you make a video about Saint Savas of Kalimnos, maybe. I mean, again, with all of the saints, I would. I'll try to. So, most interesting saint. It really depends what you define with interesting. I think that the entire thing with Saint Basil the New is very interesting. How he was caught, where did he come from, the things he used to say, it's all interesting. And if you want to know, he's the guy who basically is the primary source for the toll houses. And while I generally have a lot of issues with that vision, uh, I can't say it's not interesting. um, I would have to think. I would have to think, honestly. So I loved your recent Baphomet video. Thank you so much. For some reason, that video blew up. I honestly did not expect. I think it's around 17,000 views right now, which is pretty good for my channel. And I was honestly surprised how well it was received. I did not expect that amount of, people liking it. Oh, it's 18,000. You see, that's what I'm talking about. For some reason, it really clicked with people. I don't know why, and I am thankful. But yeah, I really had difficult time making it. It went super slow, even though I can make a video like that in like 2 days. Uh, and I am very thankful that in the end I braved it out.